Hello and welcome to Starside Chat, the official podcast of Starside Cafe, which is this YouTube channel and life brand, I guess. I'm Aaron, and with me as always is my co-host and partner in crime. I was trying to think of a good pun about video games, but I couldn't. Zach.
Yep, that's me. How's
Hello,
it going?
Zach. It's going well. How's it going for you?
I'm very tired, but otherwise I'm good.
An action-packed, news-filled week. Should we jump right into it?
Yep, let's do it.
A thing that is great about modern times is that now when you pay for online services on consoles, you just get free games every month.
That is true.
And they just announced the ones for April for PS Plus and Xbox. What is the Xbox one called? Just Gold, I guess.
Xbox Live Gold, something.
Xbox Live Gold.
Maybe, I don't know.
It's been too long, but we both have PlayStations, and the hot game of the month is Mad Max. Have you played this?
I haven't, but I want to. I remember when it came out, like people were streaming it on Twitch, and it looked kind of fun.
It looks beautiful. It's like the graphics are very beautiful. I remember. I want
to do a blind spotting on it whenever it's available to download.
It's available to download right now.
Well, I don't think they start or like they go live until like a few days in. I'm not sure what the exact day is, but.
And then Trackmania Turbo is also coming out. I have never played any Trackmania games, although I have watched people stream them, and some of them can be like some of those games where you're kind of like banging your head against a wall trying to get through certain tracks. Have you watched any Trackmania or played any?
I mean, the image looks crazy.
Yeah.
It's like almost an RC car, and it's like you're in this city and there's these like looping tracks. It looks pretty crazy. But no, I have not played them.
I guess they're both car themed, but they're both available in April, and I'm more likely to play Mad Max because that did look like a cool game.
Yeah, it came out. I want to say right around the time of the movie when that came out.
Yeah,
but
and I wasn't sure. It's not affiliated with.
Yeah,
it, is it?
I was gonna say they don't seem to be affiliated at all. They just happen to have come out at around the same time.
Excellent synergy.
Yeah.
I'll tell you, Zach, that I'm more interested in the Xbox games.
Yeah, I hear it's a really good month for Xbox games this time.
The Witness is the one I'm super excited for. Did you play The Witness?
No, I remember you talking about it, though.
It's so good. The only thing is that I sometimes get motion sick when I play it, and I think I have read that this is a thing. So The Witness is by that one guy whose name I totally remember, and everyone knows it, so
that
I don't
guy.
have to say it.
Yeah, of course.
He made Braid.
Oh,
and
sure.
He's a genius. But anyway,
Mr. Braid himself.
Dr. Braid.
Yes.
He made The Witness, and it's a puzzle game in like the truest sense of the word, and all the puzzles are these grids, but you're teaching yourself. It's like a masterclass in game design because you teach yourself the mechanics of the game very slowly throughout literally the entire game, and you're constantly building on knowledge that you're teaching yourself, and it's very, very satisfying. But also, it's I can't remember the reasons that it gives people headaches, but it's like the frame rate is unique and it doesn't have a reticle, and the FOV is a certain thing. So some people, it gives them motion sickness, but it is totally worth it. And it's also, I don't know, it's just like, it's such a good game.
Is it anything like Myst? Because it kind of looked like Myst to me.
It's very similar to Myst, except in Myst, I had never played a Myst, but I'm pretty sure it's somewhat similar to a point-and-click adventure where you're collecting things, like you got to collect a cog and put it in a certain place. Whereas this is only grid puzzles, but they're very, very interesting and wildly different. So you have a base knowledge, and you can go anywhere from the beginning, but you need to go certain places first so that you learn what certain symbols and different things mean. I can't say enough good things about Braid.
So you say it makes you motion sick. Is
Witness.
Is
Witness, I mean.
is it mainly the frame rate and the fact that there's no reticle? Because I remember when, what was it, Mirror's Edge came out. I think originally there wasn't. Maybe it wasn't that game, but I think there wasn't a reticle, and so people would get kind of motion sick with it. So they added one, and that made it better.
Yeah. It could be that. Like, it's something about, like, having nothing to focus on, and also it just being, like, very buttery smooth, like, some amount, like 60 frames per second or something, and just, like, a slightly too big FOV, I think, but whatever it is.
I feel like having a larger FOV would help, but maybe not.
And this is something else. Like, it's good to play with someone else, especially if that someone is not affected by motion sickness. They can go around in the world, and then once you get to the puzzles, you can both collaborate. But that's how I found was the best way to play the game, is some way where I didn't have to actually move the character.
Yeah. What else do they have this month?
So that's for Xbox One, and the other Xbox One is Assassin's Creed Syndicate, which I believe is the England steampunk one where you have a sister and or a brother, depending on who you play.
The cover makes it look like that one, but I honestly have lost track of where these have released. Like, was that before or after the pirate one?
After. They are endeavoring to walk it back, it seems. Like, there isn't one every year anymore.
Yeah.
Like, there was the Egypt one, and now it's going to be like a year or two before. Spoiler alert, I think I talked about this in a previous cast, but I think the next place is going to be Greece.
That would be cool. But yeah, I think it's a good decision to stop doing them yearly, because like I burnt out after, I want to say, Brotherhood, which is like
that's like the second one.
Well, it's like the second one of the trilogy of the second game. It's really just confusing. But there was
Zach,
also
I've only ever played the first one.
Oh, really?
Yes.
Oh, you're worse than me then.
It's my secret shame.
Well, I mean, I have not played most of them, so I am also ashamed. But wasn't there a remaster for one of them that came out fairly recently? Like within the last week?
Yes, I think we talked about that. We talked about that on the last podcast, I think. It was Rogue, I think, Assassin's Creed Rogue, because it came out on PS3, but the PS4 was already out. So, or like just that generation analog for Xbox as well. So no one really played it, and
right.
So they remastered it to the current generation. So hopefully people will play it now. Apparently it was very good. It was sort of like a sequel to Black Flag, which was the pirate one, or maybe a spiritual sequel. I'm not sure.
So if you're an Xbox person, you could be playing a lot of Assassin's Creed.
You know what else? You know what? Which one no one ever talks about, I feel like, is the one where you're a Native American. I don't even remember what that's called.
Far Cry.
Did you know
Primal?
that was a one? No.
No, I'm not aware of that one.
I feel like that one came and went and no one talked about it, which is crazy.
Do you remember what it was subtitled?
No. It was probably something about like being a patriot or something, because it was like America was happening. And I'm pretty sure you hung out with like Ben Franklin and stuff.
I don't remember that at all.
This is not a fever dream that I had. This definitely happened. You like ran around in trees? Trees were the things that you climbed?
Oh. Were there tree houses?
I don't know. I never played it. But
was there a woolly mammoth? I
Zach,
think you're describing Primal.
Native American Assassin's Creed. Ooh, I spelled that very wrong.
What is the chronology of Assassin's Creed?
This was just called Assassin's Creed 3. No subheading.
Really?
It took place in the American Revolution. You play Desmond Miles. You're part Native American, I think. You have like a...
Well, Desmond
tomahawk.
Miles is the main dude.
Oh, never mind. I don't know what your name is in... I'm just like skimming the synopsis.
Well,
Assassin's Creed 3.
I tuned out after... You know who we should get on the podcast because he's like an Assassin's Creed expert is Mike.
Mike.
The guy who has redesigned our logo.
Yes.
We should give
Props
a shout
to
out.
Mike.
Yeah.
He has branded us as professionals, and we have a beautiful new logo and banner and opening animation. So props to Mike for that. He's great. If you want to contact him and get work, from him. Call us, and then we'll talk to him.
Or just shout at Mike. Just walk outside and go, Mike, and he will probably appear.
It's true. Much like someone from Assassin's Creed, he'll drop down.
Yeah, that's true.
Anyway, I was right. This does exist, but also no one knows about it for some reason.
You would think one of the numbered ones would not be so easily forgotten, but I guess that's what they get for making them yearly. So it's good that they're not doing that anymore.
Black Flag was 4, and that was the start of them having, maybe not the start, because I guess there was Brotherhood, but like everyone after Black Flag has been like Assassin's Creed, Syndicate, or Origins, or whatever the French one was, Unity. Man, there are a lot of Assassin's Creed games.
There's so many of them. And when you're doing them yearly, eventually you're like, we should just stop numbering, because that's not... Because
especially
I think
Unity was a giant...
I think Call of Duty stopped numbering their games too, didn't they?
Yeah, it's true, yeah. And they have also somewhat walked it back, or like they have maybe bought up other studios so that they can share the load, so it's not just one studio pumping them out every year.
Well, it was never just one studio. They always had, so it was Infinity Ward trading off yearly with Treyarch. So they were doing them every other year because, Call of Duty 2 was like the first one on the 360 PS3 generation, and that was Infinity Ward. And then Treyarch did Call of Duty 3, and then Call of Duty 4 was like the one that changed everything. That was Infinity Ward. And then, of course, sometime after Modern Warfare 2, Infinity Ward broke up, and it was the like guy, like the owner or like the, I don't know, the lead guy at Infinity Ward went to make the Titanfall guys.
Oh, yeah. I remember that.
Yeah.
I keep thinking you're saying Infinity War.
No. Ward with a D.
What was the name of the space one? Wasn't that called like Infinity War?
Infinite Warfare.
They
all...
What was the one with Kevin Spacey?
I don't remember.
Was that also... Zach, I have another secret shame. I have never played any Call of Duty or Modern Warfare games.
I stopped playing the series after the first Black Ops, so anything after that, I'm real fuzzy on.
You know, the next one is a Black Ops game.
It is, but I never played the second one.
This is 4, I think.
And I don't know if they're still bringing Gary Oldman back or not, but he's been a voice in the Call of Duty games, the Treyarch ones, since World at War.
Really?
Which was the one between Call of Duty 4 and Modern Warfare 2.
This is a big blind spot for me. I don't know anything about any of this.
I don't know. We would have to do like if we wanted to do a blind spotting on the Call of Duty franchise, that would be very, very ambitious. But
you know what else Mike is an expert in is like the Call of Duty Zombies apparently has a very rich lore that Mike has done a lot of research on. So he could help us out with a video on exploring the lore of Call of Duty Zombies, because apparently it's very deep.
Really? That's crazy.
Yeah. Apparently there's like a lot of like hidden lore you can discover, and there's a whole like crazy backstory where it's all like in one shared like multiverse or something.
So I remember when Black Ops, the first one, came out, they had that zombies mode in it, but they also had, what I enjoyed even more was this sort of like small arcade mode that was like a twin stick shooter that was a zombie survival mode. And I always wanted I don't know if they still do that mode or if that's still in there somewhere in the mix, but I always wanted I was like, if they just released something like this as like an XBLA game and like, I don't know, updated it or like brought new stuff to it, I would have probably bought that and played it because it was super fun.
I'm telling you, man, classic games, like we did that Ion Maiden video this week. Classic games where they have upgraded things just a little bit and put in like modern conveniences, like a mini map and things like that, is exactly what, there's like a niche environment for that, and there's like gap in the marketplace, and people want that. Like I think Ion Maiden, when it comes out, is going to do super well. Like Brutal Doom is such a good mod, and it's like just the mixture of classic elements with like modern visceral gameplay. Like so much of the classic stuff is so nice, like the quick movement and picking up health packs, like not having to just like break up gameplay by, like for instance in Far Cry 5, it's a great game, but I do a lot of like hiding while my health slowly regenerates, you know?
We should do a blind spotting on that.
On what, Far Cry 5?
No, on Brutal Doom. Because
Ooh.
this is not the first time you've brought this game up.
Yeah, I have not, the thing about Brutal Doom is it's like they constantly are updating it, so I'll have to get the latest update. I think it will blow your mind.
I'm interested. So, yeah, we should definitely do that, but...
For sure.
So what's next on the list?
Well, so a lot of our coverage recently has been about Far Cry 5 because it's like definitely having a moment. It's in the zeitgeist because it just came out.
It's
and
the hot
everyone's
new
playing
game, yeah.
It's the hotness, and you brought this to my attention because you have been dabbling in the Far Cry 5 arcade, and I have not been doing that because I haven't had as much time to play as you. But apparently the arcade is very robust, and people are recreating different things within the arcade with like some amount of fidelity.
Yeah, so they have already made somebody, I don't know who, but the fans who I've spent probably a ton of time in the editors, which I hear on PC actually opens in its own window, like it's a separate program almost.
Ooh, I like that.
But yeah, they've made maps from Counter-Strike and Call of Duty and PUBG. And of course, Far Cry 5 has the ability to, like, when you spawn in, you'll, like, do that thing where you're parachuting in. So if you have, like, a small version of the PUBG map in there and you can, like, every time you spawn, you parachute in, it seems like that would be kind of a fun, like, I don't know, recreation of PUBG in Far Cry.
Well, so when you texted me this, you were like, man, someone remade PUBG in Far Cry 5 Arcade. And my mind was like, oh man, that editor must be so intense that you can like make rules and stuff. Like there's a closing circle. Like I thought that you meant they recreated the game, the entire game.
Not full PUBG, just like the map.
That's still pretty cool.
It is pretty cool. So like we talked about this before, I think, but I keep saying, like, one of these big franchises, it'll probably be Call of Duty or Battlefield, they're gonna make their own Battle Royale mode.
It's gonna be Rockstar.
Or it could be Rockstar, because there was that rumor about Red Dead Redemption. Although, how do they parachute in?
Ooh.
Well,
maybe you meet the Wright. Don't you meet the Wright brothers in the last episode or in the last Red Dead Redemption?
That was so long ago, I don't remember.
Yeah.
But anyway, if one of those guys makes one, I feel, well, I don't know if they'll steal people away from Fortnite, but I feel like PUBG might have a rough go if one of the other, like, realistic shooters starts creeping in on their territory, especially when that's like a big known franchise like Call of Duty or Battlefield.
I want to make a prediction.
Do it.
Isolate this audio, Zach.
All right, I'm marking the time code right now.
At E3, we will see not one, but at least 2 AAA Battle Royale games announced at the PS4, Sony / or Xbox conferences. Or Bethesda even. I was like, at least 2 AAA Battle Royale game types for games will be announced or revealed for the first time at E3 2018.
You could be right, and it probably wouldn't surprise me.
Because I'm factoring in definitely Red Dead Redemption, but one other mystery one that I think is probably maybe even more geared towards Battle Royale. Like, it started out development as a Battle Royale game.
Oh, really? Not like the Fortnite route of having a game that's not super successful, but like cobbling together a Battle Royale mode and then it becoming like bigger than the game that they developed for however many years it took them to develop.
Because I believe that PUBG is 1 year old, like either now or like earlier this week or last week. So 1 year ago, PUBG was like exploding onto the marketplace. And a bunch of people, probably that was their seed of a thought, like, this is how we would do this. So I think we might see some of those things, especially if it's an indie game. Imagine like a 16-bit, some sort of 16-bit Battle Royale. Could you imagine that, Zach?
I mean, that's actually really interesting. Yeah, I feel like when there's like a mode or a type of game that's like super popular, there are like a ton of clones, or like everybody wants to put their own spin on it. So it would not surprise me because, like, you remember when, like, I always talk about how Modern Warfare, the first one, kind of changed the way multiplayer games are done,
Mm-hmm.
with that like progression system and all that.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, I feel like that's not like a particular game mode, I guess, but like everybody was trying to latch onto that idea and like change their shooter to be more like that. I feel like we're gonna see a ton of battle royale modes.
For sure.
But yeah,
At least two.
I think we should do like an E3 predictions show at some
Yeah,
point.
we might have to wait until a little longer. Like maybe in May. Like let's wait April and see if anything else gets like, because the longer we wait, the more likely we are to be right about stuff. Whereas like if I make insane predictions what's an insane like Red Dead Redemption is gonna have a time travel element like Assassin's Creed or some insane nonsense like that. It could be that next week they're like, this is what we're showing at E3, get ready for this, and they contradict me. So I feel like we should wait until like mid-May
Well,
and then make a
it's all
predictions
about
video.
the bold predictions, and if you're
Like,
right, then you're like, whoa,
very true.
that
What
guy
about a
knows
month
stuff.
away? When it's a month away, we'll do a big E3 prediction special.
Okay, yeah, that's fine. Anyway, what we were originally talking about was Far Cry 5 Arcade, and we went down that
Oh yeah,
digression towards PUBG and Battle Royale, but there's not a Battle Royale mode in there, but
yet.
yet. I feel like the developer would have to put that one in there because there's not like a rules or anything like that to this, but I have played around a little bit with the multiplayer, and it's fine. It's kind of fun, but it's not something I think I would play a ton. But people have gotten pretty creative with the editor and have started making some interesting things in there. Like I saw somebody put up a video of one of the like solo or co-op things that you could do. It wasn't even one of the multiplayer things, and it was like this Legend of Zelda ripoff where they had like, you would
What?
go in there and you would start off with like a slingshot, and then you would eventually get a bow, and they would have and it you would have to take out different things, and then you would like have these like jump puzzles and stuff like that,
Mm-hmm.
and eventually you would have to fight. I forget what they call it. It was like Yeti Ganon or something like that. And of course, all of this is just like, Ubisoft assets, but they just have
Right.
stuff like written on the wall, like prepare your bow, Link, or something like that. And
Man,
so
I would play that.
people are
Wait, so
are getting very creative with it.
do you think you have to you probably have to download that beforehand, right?
What, like the map?
Yeah.
Yeah, there is an option to download the maps.
Can you stream it? Is there an option to not download it?
I don't know. I don't know if it takes up a bunch of space or not, but I'm assuming you could always just delete it if you find it something you don't like, but
I have another digression I'd like to do.
okay.
What's going on with Jeff Goldblum?
He's amazing.
Yeah, but he's everywhere right now.
It's because of the new Jurassic Park game.
I saw a video today that was him reading steamed hams.
Really?
Yeah. Like at first I got it. Like there was Isle of Dogs stuff, so he did all the wired like autocomplete and things like that. And then he was on some game site and they were talking about the game. And then it was just like I saw one that was just like they gave him a sheet of paper with famous video game lines and he was just reading the lines. And there was another one where he was like rating his favorite game characters. And then there was
Yeah,
the
I
one
saw
where he's
that
reading
one.
steamed hams. Like he's everywhere on the internet right now, just doing anything. He'll meet with anyone, is what I'm saying. And I think we should try to contact him.
So, well, first of all, it's a big time for Jeff Goldblum between Isle of Dogs and the Jurassic Park game and the new Jurassic World movie. He's got a lot going on, but yeah, I saw some of those videos, and very clearly what they had done is they had like set up a like press like meeting or whatever where they had Jeff Goldblum sitting in this chair in this like studio, and they had their cameras set up and everything, and they would just kind of like file through the games journalists, and they would go sit down and they would have like 8 minutes. I think I listened to the Game Informer show where they were talking about this, and that's why I know this. But yeah, they would sit them down for like 8 minutes, and they would let them ask whatever they wanted to ask, and they would just riff with Jeff Goldblum for a while, and then they would get up and leave, and the next person would shuffle in, and it was their turn, and they would get some time with Jeff Goldblum, and then they would leave again.
Zach, I've just Googled Jeff Goldblum, or I've just YouTubed him. I'd like to read you what I found. These are all within 3 weeks of each other. Jeff Goldblum reads hilarious thirst tweets by BuzzFeed Celebrity, which I didn't even know was a thing, and I hate that I know it now.
Yeah, what is that?
Jeff Goldblum answers the web's most searched questions, Wired. Jeff Goldblum cooking with Jeff Goldblum and Jonathan Gold. I don't know who Jonathan Gold is. Jeff Goldblum breaks down his career from Jurassic Park to Isle of Dogs.
I saw that one. That one was pretty fun.
Jeff Goldblum tries to trigger ASMR.
What?
Jeff Goldblum on Conan. Jeff Goldblum critiques Jeff Goldblum tattoos. Like, what is happening?
How many Jeff Goldblums out of Jeff Goldblum does he give that?
Jeff Goldblum rates video game characters.
Yeah, there's a Jeff Goldblum rating system. Yeah, no, so there was, I think...
Jeff Goldblum sets the record straight on Jeff Goldblum.
Does it
What's
need
happening?
to be set? Did that need to be... The record need to be set straight?
Jeff Goldblum does video game impressions. Jeff Goldblum reads steamed hams for some reason.
Yeah, that one's really off the wall, but no.
Jeff Goldblum draws a dinosaur. Jurassic interview.
Draws a dinosaur. I wonder if it was good.
Jeff Goldblum takes hilarious citizenship test and fails miserably. Like, what is happening?
What citizenship test?
I have no idea. All I'm saying is like it's like when all of a sudden Oreos were insane, and every week, like now there's a million different kinds of Oreos, and every week it's like, hey, have you tried banana chocolate Oreos? And it's just like they're pumping them out so quickly. We're being inundated is the word I would use with Jeff Goldblum and Oreos.
I'll be honest, those are my two favorite things to get inundated with. So I love Jeff Goldblum, and it's very clear if you watch any of these that he's just on a whole different plane of existence to everyone else. But the other funny thing is, so like I watched the Game Informer one, and I think there was a Eurogamer one, which is the one where they ask him to like rate different characters, video game characters. And it's clear if you watch both of those, he has no idea about video games at all. You try to talk to him about games, and he's like, yeah, I like Pictionary, you know.
What was his top rated game character?
No, so they would like show him a picture of a video game character and ask him to like describe his thoughts on the character. And I
would actually watch this. I would watch the hell out of this.
You should definitely watch it, because they hold up like Donkey Kong, and he has no idea who that is. He's like, oh, I don't know why he's got a tie with DK on it. Who would wear a tie like that? But he's like, also, like, he's one of those kinds of people that like kind of loves everyone as well. Mm-hmm. And he's like, whatever you got going for you, just be like super into it. Yeah. And so like he's also like oddly flirty with everyone he talks to. It doesn't matter if it's a girl journalist or a male journalist. He's just like, he's into you and him in that moment. Like he's like, you guys are like, you're having a thing, like you're sharing a moment right now. So
I am very surprised we haven't seen him on that Hot Ones.
Hot Ones. Oh yeah.
Because I feel like that's prime Jeff Goldblum territory now, because he's just like doing all internet stuff.
The other, there was I think it's the Wired ones where they have them like the most Googled search terms.
Yeah, I watched that one.
Isn't that one where they ask him like what's going on with like his mannerisms or whatever, and he's like, oh, that's just me.
There's Vanity Fair. I think it's Vanity Fair does this thing where they let celebrities take someone's phone, like a producer's phone, and hijack their Tinder, which is also like a pretty good thing that I bet Jeff Goldblum would be great at. Although I don't think he knows what Tinder is.
Maybe not.
Anyway, I just thought we should talk about Jeff Goldblum. He's great.
We should talk. We'll have a Jeff Goldblum segment every week.
Ooh,
Latest in Jeff Goldblum.
the Jeff Goldblum tomb.
Yeah, but no, they were also asking him about like the game. Like they were clearly there because these were all games journalists, and they were there to
Yeah.
talk to him about the upcoming Jurassic Park game.
Oh, that's like a tycoon game, right?
Yeah, yeah, and so they sat down to start talking about the Jurassic Park game, and he didn't know if they were talking about the movie or the game or what was going on. And you say video game to him, and he doesn't know. But it's totally fine because it's Jeff Goldblum, and people are gonna watch it and they're gonna love it because it's gonna be hilarious and awesome.
See, this is the thing, because like Clueless Gamer Conan is great because like he actively dislikes video games usually.
Yeah,
And I feel like the times where it's not fun is when they have a guest and it's someone who is into video games. But if it's two old men or two old people
who know nothing about games,
who know nothing, it's way better.
Yeah, that is pretty funny. I think he should definitely be on Clueless Gamer, or he should just like somebody should have him on their show to do like a video game segment. Which is
I would love that. Oh my god.
It's crazy that he knows nothing about it because he's been in video games.
Has he?
Yeah, there was like a Jurassic Park The Lost World game. I think the Game Informer video, he like plays this random clip of Jeff Goldblum. It's like a video thing of him saying at the end of the game, like, congratulations, you made it. And it seems pretty clear that they were just like on the set of The Lost World and they just like, oh, we need to shoot this thing for the video game. You know, it's like this contractual thing or whatever. And they gave him like no direction. And they just said, it's at the end of the game. The player completed it. Go. And they just like hold up the camera and he's just out there just sort of like riffing on congratulations. You did a great job. But then he's also like, well, now that you finished it, time to put the controller down and go outside, you know? And he just has all these weird sayings that he's doing. And it's just like, there's like no direction to this whatsoever, but it's hilarious.
A while ago, they were like, hey, Clueless Gamer is becoming a TV show on TBS. And then I didn't hear anything else about it. Do you remember that?
No.
I read that it was being optioned as its own television show, which I was like, great. I would watch that every week. But I guess maybe it's not happening. I don't know. I
How
feel
would
like
you
it was
make
like
a
year
full
ago.
show out of that, though?
Well, I mean, I guess it would probably be that Aaron Blair guy. Blair? I don't know what that guy's name is.
I guess you could do it. It would just have to be more in depth, and they would need a lot more from Conan.
Yeah, it would need a lot more from Conan. Because it could also be like, they don't have to spend a ton of time on a game. Maybe it would even be funnier if they just like threw him. Also, that one where he did VR was very funny. And I feel like there's so many VR experiences. A segment of every episode could be Conan does VR. And I would be in love with that because I love everything VR.
That would be hilarious. And Team Coco does stream on Twitch, but he's usually not involved. Like,
Oh, really? I didn't know that.
He may like stop in every once in a while in like the background and like say something, but he's usually not there. It's usually the other guys. But yeah, they have a channel on Twitch. I don't know how often they stream. I would assume not very often, but they every now and then they'll jump on there and stream for like an hour.
Interesting. Wouldn't that be great if you worked in a TV show? Like, what if, not to get too into it, but we used to work in television. What if they were just like, hey, can you guys just like start a Twitch account for us?
I would love that. I would have been all over that. But there is no reason for like local news to have any sort of Twitch or a streaming channel.
Can you imagine?
Although
we shouldn't get.
I did wonder why they don't have like a YouTube.
Yeah, that's also a super good point. If I ever wanted like look at, because sometimes the promos are pretty interesting. Not interesting, but I like sometimes I'm in some of the promos, I guess is what I should say. And I want to see them, but there's no archiving whatsoever. And YouTube is free. Like, why aren't you just putting everything on YouTube? It's
I was going to
insane.
say, like, plus YouTube has a huge user base. Like, everybody's on YouTube. They're all about like social media and sharing things. And they don't like just like put segments up on YouTube. If you go to any entertainment news outlet, they all have a YouTube channel. And I like, granted, that's entertainment. It's not like hard news or whatever, but
Yeah.
I don't know how they don't. Maybe that's something that they need to get into. Anyway, we don't need to talk about that.
Zach, tell me about PUBG mobile players using a mouse and keyboard. That seems like cheating to me.
It does. This is so there was news that came out about how in PUBG Mobile there was people were suspecting that there were bots, and that was not good news for PUBG Mobile. Or well, we said we thought it was probably a good idea. It was like a good way to introduce somebody new into it. Or just to keep the game going if there wasn't enough people in it. So we were fine with it. But this is very, very different. So if people are like sort of hacking a way to play the game with a mouse and keyboard or with a controller, like a Bluetooth controller, that is very definitely putting people just playing with touch controls at a disadvantage.
For sure. That's like basically everyone is playing with their hand tied, but one hand tied behind their back, except you.
Yeah, so I think it had something to do with people like installing the game on Chromebooks, and they were able to like because
that's interesting.
Chromebooks are able to run Android apps.
Yeah,
but also
that's an interesting idea.
Also, you can pair Bluetooth devices to like either your phone or to like probably a Chromebook as well. I would imagine, but maybe not. But yeah,
interesting.
So people are coming up with different ways to like use controllers and mouse and keyboard. And my question is, why would you do that? Because if you have a mouse and keyboard and you want to play PUBG, play it on a computer. Or that's
a good point.
If you want to use a controller, play it on Xbox.
But Zach, did you ever watch Reboot?
I did.
That show Reboot?
Yeah.
Do you remember when the kid in Reboot I can't remember his name. Enzo? I don't remember. But he was like, he went to make a wish, I'm getting a lot of this wrong. But he went to like the main part of the computer and made a wish. And he was like, I wish I was the smartest person in the mainframe. And like, that just made everyone else very stupid. And so like his wish was granted, but he was basically the one-eyed man in the land of the blind, which is, I mean, you probably feel like a god when you're the only one with mouse and keyboard and you're running around like mobile PUBG.
That's true. I like people cheat in games too, so I guess people are always looking for that edge to like pad their stats. So whatever. People can do it, I guess, but it seems dumb to me. Also, it's not good on. I feel like the developer needs to find a way to like try to stop that. I don't know how they do it, but it's definitely not good. I think I would be very disappointed if I was playing that game and I found like that I was at a real disadvantage because a lot of people were using mouse and keyboard or controllers, and I'm not sure how you really tell that, I guess, like just in game while you're playing. But yeah, I guess maybe you'll never know. You just be like, man, I really suck at this game. Well, it's not really you. It's the fact that everybody else is using mouse and keyboard and controllers. So,
well, Zach, what if they weren't using any of those things?
What if it was motion controls?
Zach, I'd like to talk to you about AR.
We almost had a segue going. Continue.
How much do you know about AR?
It stands for Arby's roller coaster. No. It stands for Aaron.
Nope.
No. I don't know anything.
Augmented reality.
Oh, I was so close.
So whereas VR is you're completely enclosed own thing. There's no outside world. AR is
Pokemon Go.
Exactly, Pokemon Go. You put on glasses or you look through your phone and you see things mapped out onto the real world. Things are using what's called SLAM sensors, which is simultaneous location and mapping. But anyway, the CEO of Epic Games, GDC was last week, and the CEO of Epic Games who make Fortnite, and Fortnite famously just came out on phones and iPads and whatnot, has put forth his vision for the future. And he says the first part of his vision is that we will see AAA console level games on phones within the next like 2 or 3 years. Do you think that's accurate?
Yeah, I can see that because like the Switch right now is essentially like a phone or like a
That's
tablet.
true. That's a good
And
point.
you're
And that's old tech already.
yeah, and that's already old tech, but and they've been able to make really, really good games, like obviously Zelda and Mario Odyssey.
Yeah.
If you can make games like that can run on the Switch, then I don't know why you couldn't also make games that are just as good that run on a phone. Especially since like every game is now coming out. There's like a mobile version of it, like
Exactly.
Fortnite, PUBG. Those are like big games. They're not like those little like do you remember that jump one? Like
Oh, Downfall?
no. Like way back in the
Downwell?
day there was that jumper one with like the I forget the name of it so much, but he had like
Do you mean Flappy Bird?
no, not that one. Even before that. It does Doodle Jump. You remember Doodle Jump?
No, that's a very funny word though that you
It's
just said.
super simple game. You're just jumping straight up in the air. It's like platforming, and if you eventually miss, you drop and you die and you start over. Whatever.
Hmm.
It's like a super small game, and now you have these like big open world multiplayer shooters that you can
Yeah, it's
actually
crazy.
like chat with other people and voice chat. It's like insane how far we've come on a mobile device. Plus, they're like porting games from like a couple generations ago onto mobile devices.
That's true. You can play like you can buy GTA 3 on the Google Play Store or like Final Fantasy 7.
Yeah, exactly. I think those ports are really bad, is what I've heard. But
Oh, really?
but you can like you can do it. Like it can run those games.
So do you think that's where we'll go? Do you think there will be like no PS5? It'll just be like a PlayStation phone?
I don't know about that. But maybe if they want to compete with the Switch, maybe that's the way to go. But I
So
don't know.
his other prediction, he had a two-part prediction. That was the first one. And he said first will come console quality games on mobile phones. Then AR will replace mobile phones.
So are we talking like Google Glass?
Well, so do you know what Magic Leap is?
Isn't that the kids like tablet things?
That does have Leap in the name.
Oh,
Magic Leap is a mysterious company that are supposedly making like the first quality augmented reality headset. So this is the dream of putting on glasses and everything around you changes. Not everything, but like you're sitting in your room, but all of a sudden you can have an IMAX, not IMAX, but like a huge screen TV on your wall, and it's not really there, but you see it with your glasses. Your entire field of view is being augmented. Or like you'll have a digital, you'll just say like, "Hey, assistant," and like a little genie will pop up in the air next to you, and you can look at it, and it can interact with things. Like it knows stuff, it's smart, and you can talk to it, and it does. It's like basically Google Assistant, but it has a physical, albeit non-corporeal form, or just like float. Like if I was to Skype you or something, you would just like the window would just appear. You could just like throw windows around like in Minority Report. And Magic Leap is purporting, and supposedly it's coming out this year, is purporting to be that. Like you can just have it all, man. You can put on these glasses and walk around. You can pin windows to physical places in your house or apartment. Like if you have a security camera that's like looking at your front door, you can pin that just like your refrigerator, walk away and come back, and it'll still be pinned to your refrigerator because it has mapped out your location and is able to, like, there's like object permanence basically.
that's very cool.
Yes, it's very cool. Like I believe there was a video on Kotaku or some play earlier where someone had put in Street Fighter 2 or something into Unity. They'd made a Unity port of it, and these guys were just playing it in the street, and it looked like the characters were actually in a street.
Oh
So
wow.
yeah, like games would just be immersive. Like you could just you would look like you're on your computer at work, but actually you're like playing Doom or something because a computer is anywhere and everywhere in your line of sight.
Well, so are these glasses like legitimately normal looking glasses, or are they
No,
like a VR
not yet.
headset?
Well, so I sent you that link, and I'll put it somewhere maybe maybe I'll post it in some kind of show notes that people can see. But the first iteration is definitely something where people will know that you have an AR headset on.
Oh,
But
yeah.
the dream is to have it like be glasses. I mean, it has to fill your whole vision, so it has to be a little bit bigger than your eye. But the dream is for it to just be like a big pair of aviators, basically, and you just look through it, and it's very tiny, but like the glasses are tiny. I mean, there's not a lot of extra weight, and just to like for instance, there was I've been watching that Psychopaths anime, and everyone has like hollow technology, but it works in this argument where like you could have a small little apartment, but you put the glasses on, you say like load up Victorian apartment, and it has mapped all of your stuff, so it knows where all your like chairs and bed and stuff are, but you can overlay everything so that it looks like you're living in a mansion.
That would be really, really cool. And so basically, like you know the AR stickers on like the Google phones or
Yeah, yeah.
stuff like that. So it's basically that, but way more advanced.
Yeah, and it's very secretive. Like, not a ton of people have been able to get their hands on a Leap. And actually, I read earlier this week, or maybe it was earlier, maybe it was 2 weeks ago, it doesn't matter, that when you get a dev kit for a Magic Leap, they make you keep it in a vault wherever you are. It has to be in a safe with like a combination lock. So it's like very hard for people in the general public to actually get their hands on it. And it's not just glasses at the moment. It also, there's like a cable that comes down, and there is a personal computer that you have to like clip to your belt. But I mean, the dream is for it to all be contained within the headset.
I'm reading a little bit of this, and it says that they're supposed to be eventually no bigger than like your standard set of like Oakley sunglasses,
Yeah.
and that the pixels are supposed to be indistinguishable from reality.
Yes. So this is the thing where like once you're wearing this, you could like look at your hand and just like swipe up on your hand with the other hand, and just like a menu will appear in thin air, and it will look to you as if it's really there. And I mean, the possibilities are endless. Like, there could be, this would legitimize laser tag in a way that has never been legitimized before. Like, you could have like a whole thing where like you and someone else in your office are playing some sort of AR game where you both have, like, unbeknownst to anyone else, you both have like guns that you can like shoot each other with down the hall, and it will map everything, so it knows. It's the whole thing about AR is it's interacting with real reality. So like things have a physical presence even if they're not really there in your line of sight.
Which makes me think of that original like Pokemon Go commercial where they were trying to
Exactly.
sell, where people were walking around and they're like, "Oh, hey, I literally see a Pikachu
Yeah.
over there. I'm gonna throw a thing at it." Like this is like sort of fulfilling the promise of that.
Yes, like this would be the Pokemon Go would be a killer app for this.
I'm sure in like however many years it takes for this thing to come out, we'll eventually get a Pokemon Go, like a new version of that game that's running on this.
Yeah, for sure. And this is coming out in 2018, so as they say, it's been in development for a long time, and for years no one even knew what it looked like. They have a YouTube channel that has like some very mysterious, very short promotional vids on it. But only recently have they come out with actual product details. Not a ton of details. There's a picture basically that is definitely a render. But this is the new, like, VR is still very interesting and good, and people should still be excited about VR. But AR is something where like celebs and like teens are like not as likely to get into VR at this moment. But something like this, like AR, is gonna have like mass appeal in a way that VR currently does not have.
I'll be honest, you can lump me in with them because for actually a long time, I've been more interested in AR than VR, specifically because I think what you can do, at least from what we've seen so far, what you can do with an AR game seems way more interesting than what you can do with the VR experience, because with VR right now it's very limited. Like, movement is very difficult and tricky, and usually it's kind of really sort of ham-fisted. And Like unless you have like a treadmill or whatever that is omnidirectional, like you're gonna have struggles with that. And like everything I've seen as far as like PlayStation VR games are like remind me of those really bad like early Kinect and PlayStation Move games that are like these really dumb motion control games. And I'm like, I'm not going to play those games. I'm just not. I'm not into them. They look really dumb to me. And I'm not going to spend the amount of money it's going to take to get one of these to play those. But
Zach, what about the Oasis?
Well, and it could get there one day. Like I said, I'm not into Gen 1. I'm waiting to see where it goes, and maybe one day there will be the Oasis. But in that movie, the idea, like future VR, they've got these like haptic suits, and they have like a treadmill thing, or they have these like rigs that they are in. It's very elaborate.
That's the true promise, or that's the true thing that will get VR, I think, wholly off the ground, is a persistent, deep MMO, like with a persistent world, like basically a metaverse.
Another world to live in, yeah.
Like that's the thing that would like push a lot of people over the top. That's what people are waiting for, is they're waiting for the Oasis or the metaverse, the place where it's not just a series of experiences or just like an interesting tech demo. It's a place you can literally go, maybe even buy like property there and just like live an entirely different life within the game.
Yeah, that's when VR will have like fulfilled its promise. Like right now it's not there. Right?
Yeah,
right now it's just interesting tech demos like you were saying. Which is why I think for the relatively near future, I think AR is more interesting. But once VR gets there, I think it'll be awesome. Plus, I think AR is just a little bit more practical because AR is essentially what our like personal phone and computing experience is going to be. Like that's going to be the device that you carry with you wherever you go.
It's true, yeah, and I think he is correct in that it will replace phones, because I don't even really think we should call them phones anymore, because I barely talk on my phone. It's more of an
personal
internet device.
Yeah.
Exactly. Like ironically, it's more of a PDA.
Yeah, that's true.
But I don't know. This is a conversation that we should continue to have, as especially when like more. I mean, who's to say? Maybe at E3 they'll unveil something. I doubt it, but AR is something we should keep track of as well as VR.
It's an interesting conversation, and it's an interesting, it's interesting tech. So yeah, we can keep talking about it as it sort of keeps moving.
Speaking of interesting tech, I put this one other thing in our notes, but we're running short on time, so we might talk about it next week.
Yeah, it's up to you if you want to dive into that or not.
Let's leave it for next week,
okay.
But we can talk about what we've been playing. I have only been playing Far Cry 5. I don't know about you.
Yeah, I wanted to dive into Long Gone Days. I think that's one that I'm putting off, and we'll get to soon. That was the one that we were talking about last week that I thought looked really interesting. But yeah, all of my free time has been eaten up by Far Cry 5. So,
and I have not had a ton of free time, but I have been playing some amount of Far Cry. You're a lot farther than me, but I have completed one region as far as like defeating the lieutenant, and now I'm like trying to finish up all the side quests in that mission or in that region, and then I will go on to probably the girls region next.
Yeah, so that's what I'm doing. I also finished the south, and I have gone and collected all the companions, and then I went around just sort of messing around, making sure all of them had completed their challenge so that I could get all the perk points.
Yeah.
And now I think what I want to do next is just kind of methodically go around the map and get all the prepper stashes and clear the outposts. And I think in doing that, that'll eventually just sort of push the story forward, because that's just kind of how it goes. Like, because as you complete things, you sort of push that forward automatically.
That's true. And we put up our initial impressions video, which everybody should check out. And I think maybe later this week or maybe next week, once we have like really dug into the game, we'll put up a I'm not even impressions video, just like a what we think, basically.
Like a final thoughts video.
Final thoughts, basically. That makes me think we should beat it before we talk about it again.
Yeah, that's true. I don't know if we'll be done with it by next week or not, but
we'll see.
I plan on playing it as much as I can. I want to do some more videos on it. I'm not sure what to do with it, but we'll think of something. We could still do an arcade mode video. We talked about maybe doing that. I have a video ready to do about how to find the Blood Dragon outfit. Because we kept talking about how we wanted like a full Blood Dragon game.
True.
So this is the closest thing we're going to get to that, I think, unfortunately.
Well, we'll see. We'll see what I forget what the other DLCs are. I guess I only know about the Mars one, but...
Yeah, I don't know when those are coming out, but I want to do videos on those DLCs when they come out as well.
For sure.
But yeah.
So take a look out for that video, and we're going to have some other stuff. We might have a Bayonetta video this week if I can figure some things out, but also we'll tease this. We might have some IRL stuff going on.
Maybe. So
TBD.
Well, yeah, we don't want to say for sure just yet, but we're working on potentially doing some IRL stuff.
Let's just say it'll be pretty sweet.
Very sweet indeed.
But I think that wraps it up for this week.
Yeah. I think that's all we've got.
Take us out, Zach.
Please follow us on Twitter and Instagram, and like the video and subscribe on YouTube and all those things that you have to do.
All right. Well, goodbye, everybody.
Goodbye.